around the either new skills and capabilities that have emerged in demand, and maybe those that have fallen away. What has been your experience over the last 2 years?
Yeah, definitely the evolution, I would say, between pandemic, post-pandemic, and now and tomorrow has been changing rapidly. And not only the skills itself, but even the requirement in terms of job adaptability. So to touch initially on skills, like what you mentioned, there are countless studies that shows that some of the top skills and leadership attributes that are required nowadays. For example, on top of the list, you have adaptability. And this is one of the most important skills that is required versus, for example, 3 years ago maybe, business acumen or competency or proficiency, if you will, in P&L, what used to be number one skill. Number two is empathy, and this is also required from both employees as well as the leadership. So one of the most important leadership attributes is empathy. You need to be, in a way, finding your way to express your humanity and the humility as a leader to be able to engage your employees, especially in the difficult times that we've been through. But pandemic has taught us that we need to be quickly evolving, be innovative, think on your feet in terms of with not as much as data as we used to have in the past, but still this is kind of a very important skill that is required. Another thing that's also extremely important is strategic thinking. So the ability to see the future and be able to articulate that kind of vision to the team, and in terms of how can we convert that, for example, into a project or a business direction. The skill set itself is becoming the lifespan of skills are becoming much shorter.
Right.
So whatever I'm telling you now may be very well in maybe few months, not as much valid. New requirements will come up, and this is something that we have to live with, that we have to look at the roadmap, find the right data analytics as much as we can, with the open eye to adaptability whenever a new need will come, and it is going to come. This is, a given thing. Now, the other thing also that we found that from the candidate point of view, now it's not as much as employer choice as it used to be before pandemic. So it's becoming more and more employees' choice now. And we've seen, for example, in North America, the huge waves of resignation. It's changing the dynamics of employment. So nowadays, it's for me as an employee, are you a good enough employer? What is your value proposition? The values of an organization and being purpose-driven is becoming extremely important for employees, in addition, of course, to flexibility, etc., etc. So I'm going to say something, Bernard, even though you're a dear friend. I had 2 incidences lately where prominent executives from the financial sector came to me and said, we want to change our sector. We want to get into healthcare. We want something which is more purpose-driven. We want to feel that we can be more impactful on the long run. I'm not saying the financial sector is not, of course, and I always say even from any humanitarian project, it cannot be sustainable if we don't have the proper business acumen, behind it. But I'm just saying that this used to be an old-fashioned, even actually from my own experience, and I have to be very honest. For the people who don't know me, I used to be a drug dealer, now I'm a headhunter. So the first portion is pharmacist, and hence, the healthcare-related services. And as an executive search, that's the headhunting part, so don't worry. I used to be jealous of my colleagues that work in the financial sector, because we do exactly the same work, but simply because they're in the financial sector, their billing is double my billing. But nowadays I feel privileged, because now because we're associated with the healthcare and it's more the purpose, and I see there is somewhat kind of a shift in terms of what is the glorious type of profession. So speaking about how things are changing, so even we're seeing shifts from one sector to the other sector that is all serving under the purpose, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'd echo that on the shift from just the P&L profit focus to more almost what we term at PwC, the profit people and also the planet. This emphasis now on sustainability as well. I'd like to bring in Nandini on the SMEs piece, and